Imagine a city, vibrant, full of life, and then just silenced, almost overnight. Its reality just unravels. Today, we're doing a deep dive into exactly that kind of scenario. We've got this incredible document. It's called Necropolis Rising. And this isn't just some story. It's described as a critical intelligence report, really multifaceted, about a disaster in Birmingham City, UK. We'll be looking at it from, well, all the angles: scientific, military, criminal, and the really personal stories, too.
Absolutely. And our mission for you listening is to piece together the timeline of what they started calling the Birmingham incident.
Yeah.
We want to unpack where this outbreak actually started, how different people reacted, the sheer range of responses, and figure out who the key players were, the forces that just collided when the rules of reality fundamentally changed. It's fascinating in a terrifying way how fast the modern city can just come apart. So let's get started.
Okay, let's start right at the beginning with the person who kind of inadvertently lit the fuse on this whole thing. Our first key figure is Dr. Richard Whittington, a really controversial guy, apparently, known since the late 70s for being pro-vivisection, and there are these reports alleging links to MOD bioweapon experiments. Not exactly Mr. Popular,
Not at all.
Yeah.
And his work is really central to the ignition point. The whole crisis really kicks off with this bizarre attack. It happened at Whittington's penthouse up in Hilton Towers. Two activists from the Animal Activist League, AAL, Sam and Sean, they tried to get in. And their plan, you have to understand, was pretty elaborate. They used a poodle, Pepper, as a decoy, right? They tased the security guard, Dennis Owen, and they had this powerful thermite bomb ready to go. We're talking iron oxide, aluminum powder, the works, meant to basically obliterate the penthouse and, well, him.
But things went sideways, didn't they? Horribly sideways. What did Sam and Sean actually find when they broke in?
What they found was much worse than they probably ever imagined. Inside, they discover Whittington isn't just, experimenting on animals. He's already one of them, one of the risen. And he's caught in this horrifying act, consuming a golden retriever.
Yeah.
And in the struggle, Sam accidentally fires his gun, hits the thermite device, boom. The explosion wasn't just contained to the penthouse. It ripped through the building. Utter devastation. And crucially, it unleashed what the report calls the Lazarus Initiative. This wasn't just a virus. It was apparently a highly unstable bioweapon designed to reanimate dead tissue. So that explosion, that wasn't just local chaos. It was the catalyst. The reason the whole city went to lockdown almost immediately, and this terrifying new threat just spread.
Wow. The irony is just staggering, isn't it? Trying to stop cruelty and instead unleashing, an apocalypse. So this event throws the city and basically the world into facing this new reality. The risen. How quickly did people grasp what they were dealing with? What did those first encounters tell us about them?
Well, the terrifying thing that comes across in these early reports is the speed. The risen, these are people who die, often horribly, then go through this agonizing rebirth into undeath. And the contagion is incredibly fast. A bite, and you reanimate in just 30 minutes.
30 minutes, that's incredibly quick.
Frighteningly quick. And visually, they're distinct. Yellow, vacant eyes, driven by just one thing, this insatiable hunger for warm, living flesh.
And the first civilian stories? They're chilling. Like Darren Doyle, just a gamer in his bedsit. He encounters his reanimated neighbor who's apparently wearing a Smith's Meat is Murder t-shirt, which is grimly ironic, and has an autopsy Y scar. Doyle ends up fighting for his life with, get this, a bread knife smeared with Marmite.
Yes. A uniquely British apocalypse weapon, perhaps. Shows the sheer desperation, though.
Exactly. And then you have the really macabre case of Crispin Miller. He's a funeral director, already had this, let's say, unhealthy fascination with death. He starts meticulously reanimating corpses. His supposed lover, Heather Monahan, a car crash victim, another one, Charles Richardson. But they turn on him violently. It raises this awful question, doesn't it? What happens when human desires, even really twisted ones, meet this undead condition?
Yeah, like trying to control something uncontrollable.
Precisely. The report suggests this isn't just about cheating death. It's about a grotesque twisting of what it means to be human. Grief turned into horror. And it wasn't long before the scale became clear. Initial military reports mentioned bodies twisted, backs arched in Brindley Place, a dead man walking on Broad Street.
Yeah.
It was everywhere. Fast.
The total chaos erupts, and the military has to respond. Fast. Who was heading up the MOD response, and what was their mission called?
Yeah.
Right, the key figures were Colonel Mark Carpenter and Major Edward Shipman. They led the rapid response team. And their mission code name was, well, chillingly apt, Operation Necropolis, City of the Dead. But their main objective, beyond just trying to contain this thing, was very specific. They needed to find and retrieve one person, a 19-year-old kid named Tom Everett. They called him the Necromancer.
The Necromancer. Okay, why was he so important?
Tom wasn't just some random survivor. He was actually one of Whittington's original test subjects, part of the Lazarus Initiative trials. He'd been paid £100,000, plus rent-free place in Hilton Towers. The crucial part is his history. He was clinically dead for 10 minutes, actually became risen, but then somehow reverted back to human.
He came back from being one of them.
Exactly. And this process apparently gave him this unique ability. He could connect with the risen, potentially even control them. They theorized it was via something Professor Gary Daniels later termed necroneuro residue, and they were tracking him. He had a subcutaneous chip implanted. He was, an invaluable asset or weapon.
Right, and there were others after him too, weren't there? This Phoenix Industries.
Ah, yes. Phoenix Industries.
Yeah.
Led by CEO Sir Alan Coe and this Professor Daniels. They'd funded Whittington's research in the first place. They saw Tom purely in terms of profit and control. The ultimate weapon.
It really throws up stark questions about corporate ethics, doesn't it? When the world's ending, some people are still thinking about market share.
Chilling. And the stakes for the military finding him? They were incredibly high for Birmingham itself.
Extremely high. The military had a contingency plan, codenamed Firestorm. If Tom Everett wasn't secured by 01.00 hours, the entire city would be carpet-bombed with incendiaries.
Just wiped out.
To stop the spread.
A terrible choice. Sacrificing the entire city to prevent global contagion.
And while all this military and scientific drama is unfolding, there's another layer entirely. A criminal crew trying to pull off a heist.
Yeah, amidst the apocalypse, you've got this crew led by Kevin O'Connell. He's an ex-Marine, dishonorable discharge from Bosnia, apparently haunted by his brother Chris's death. A complex guy. His team was diverse. Stu Kunaka, also ex-Marine, the muscle, but with this interesting background in voodoo folklore. Then Amir Singh, a con man who seems to be struggling with his conscience through all this. Gaz Clark, the tech guy, creator of something called the Mimic Virus. And Susie Hanks, O'Connell's partner, a survivor, fiercely loyal.
Quite the crew. And their original plan had nothing to do with zombies, right?
Not a thing. Their target was the National Criminal Intelligence DNA Database, the NCIDD. They were hired to plant Clark's mimic virus inside. The goal was data manipulation for their clients, this shadowy group called the Consortium. The payout was supposed to be huge, $100 million.
Wow. So how does a zombie apocalypse affect a high-tech criminal master plan?
Well, it complicates things massively. The city lockdown forced them to improvise. They managed to get military fatigues, even an armored mastiff vehicle. Resourceful, but the challenges were immense. Roadblocks everywhere. There's this tense scene where Stu encounters an expectant corporal.
Yeah.
Really humanizes the chaos. And Stu himself had a breakdown. His background with voodoo folklore, specifically fears of zombies, it just overwhelmed him temporarily. He froze up. Huge liability.
Yeah, you don't want that in that situation.
Definitely not. But somehow, despite everything, they made it to the NCIDD building. Clark got in, planted the virus. Mission technically accomplished on that front. But then tragedy struck the crew directly. Stu got bitten, and O'Connell had to make that awful choice. Kill his friend before he turned. An act, well, mercy in that context. Brutal.
God, the choices people had to make, just horrible.
It really underscores the human cost, beyond the obvious horror. The erosion of bonds, the terrible necessities.
So all these different groups, the military hunting Tom, O'Connell's crew trying to survive and escape, and the Risen swarming, they all end up converging back at Hilton Towers, right? The source.
Exactly. Hilton Towers becomes the focal point for everyone. O'Connell's remaining crew and Major Shipman's Alpha team both arrive, both after Tom Everett. But then comes the betrayal. Turns out, one of Shipman's own men, Honeyman, he's a mole, working for Phoenix Industries.
Ah, so he was supposed to grab Tom for the corporation.
That was the plan. Honeyman gravely injures Major Shipman in the confrontation. But then in a twist, O'Connell actually saves Shipman. Strained alliances form in chaos, eh? While this is happening, Tom Everett, who'd escaped his burning apartment, makes it to the rooftop. And that's where he has this awakening. He realizes his power. The Risen below, they're all drawn to him. They're pointing up at him, making this unified, mournful sound. It's like they recognize him as their leader, their hope. It's deeply unsettling.
And in that final frantic scramble on the rooftop, O'Connell makes the ultimate sacrifice. He'd been bitten already.
Yes. He knew his time was up. He grabbed the remaining grenades.
And deliberately drew the horde of zombies away from the escape helicopter, buying time.
An incredible act. He basically pulls the entire swarm onto himself, allowing Susie, Clark, and Tom to be winched up to safety, Redemption, perhaps, for his past.
Just enough time. They get away, airborne, as Birmingham faces its final moments.
And then the inevitable, 0100 hours arrives. The RAF comes in. Operation Firestorm is executed. The city is carpet-bombed with incendiaries. Birmingham, as the center of the outbreak, is effectively erased. But Susie, Clark, and Tom the Necromancer, they escape into a completely changed world.
Which brings us to the aftermath, the end of this particular report. Our survivors, Tom, Susie, and Gaz Clark, they make it out, find refuge somewhere remote. A ranch in Wyoming, the document says. Trying to find some peace, I suppose. But it's not over for Tom, is it? He still feels something. This residue.
That's right. Faint, distant voices, almost like whispers, especially near places associated with death, like hospitals or cemeteries. It's a lingering connection. A constant reminder of what he is, what he can do, and the risen that are still out there. Somewhere, maybe.
So this deep dive into Necropolis Rising leaves us with a pretty heavy final thought, doesn't it?
It really does. It leaves you, the listener, pondering this. What does it actually mean for humanity now that a necromancer exists? Someone who can connect with, maybe even command, the undead. In this world, completely scarred by the Lazarus Initiative, is Tom Everett some kind of strange hope? A new, terrifying kind of weapon? Maybe both. And what choices is he going to make going forward as he understands his powers, his purpose more clearly? It certainly gives us, well, a lot to think about. The future is definitely uncertain.